Hoya vs Shu Kurenai. Who would win if these two powerhouse bladers went up against each other? In this video, I'm going to explain who would win in an anime style battle and why. I'll be doing this based on 3 different categories, those being blader and bay, overall power, and special moves / techniques, as well as any intangibles that could be taken into consideration. Just to note that I will be taking both bladers from the anime only and not taking any manga or real life performances into consideration. Another thing is that I will be taking Free and Shu from the Evolution or God series, the second season of Beyblade Burst. So as bladers, Shu and Free are very evenly matched in my opinion. Purely talking about Shu and Free right now, not the bays. They're both very talented and very powerful, and I can't really see one being better than the other. On the bays, however, is a very different story. Free has drained Fafnir, a 3rd generation God Layer Beyblade of a left spinning stamina type variant. His main features are the obvious rubber in the layer, which it uses to spin steel, and the spring in the driver, which it uses to lessen the impact on the stadium floor, maintaining more initial stamina. His opponent, however, Shu, has Spriggan Requiem, who is also a 3rd generation type. However, he's a balance type with the dual spin ability. Now, he also has 3 different mode changes that he can turn into in his driver, obviously those being attack, defense, and stamina. And without going into anything else, purely talking about the bays right now, it's so obvious that Spriggan Requiem has a huge advantage over Fafnir. Well, Fafnir is not a weak bay by any means. Obviously, against right spinning opponents, it's amazing. And even against left, it doesn't really have a weakness as such. I'm going to give this round to Shu and Spriggan, purely based on Spriggan having the dual spin ability and the mode changes. Now, I know Free and Fafnir aren't exactly weak to left spinning attack types, as shown by his rounds against Louis and Luminor, but he can't change. He cannot change Fafnir to a different type. Shu can change Spriggan to whatever type he wants. Now that is just more powerful than Fafnir being a left spinning stamina type, no matter how powerful that type is. So I am going to give this a point, or this round, to Shu and Spriggan, purely because he's so much more versatile than Fafnir. Now moving on to the second round, which is overall power. Now this is where I see the most debate happening out of every round, as this is the one that can be the most interpreted in a way. Now I see most people just going, oh, Shu's more powerful because he was the finale battle. He was the big bad guy of the series. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that he is the most powerful. I mean, it could mean that, but I don't see it that way. And remember, this is my opinions. This is who I think would win in each round and overall. And it's my video. So if you have your own opinion or disagree with me, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, listen to me. I do believe personally that Free is more powerful than Shu, purely based on the fact that he was never burst by Volt and Valkyrie, where Shu was. Yes, I know that Shu was heavily fatigued when he was burst by Volt, but so was Volt. Free was also heavily fatigued in his battles against Volt, because Unleashing, if you watch the anime and his last battles, his body looked like it was about to give out. He struggled to pick up Fafnir, and if he had gone on with that round, he probably would have lost. And then Volt would have won, normally by either a ring out or a burst. But Chris stopped him from battling. Yes, Volt and Valkyrie stood up to that power, and then after that, Shu and Spriggan stood up to Volt. But I personally don't think that Shu and Spriggan have as much power as Free. Basically what I'm trying to say is, if you had a stat sheet out of like 100, for example, I would say Free and Fafnir in the Evolution series, I'd say Free and Fafnir's power is at 100. And then I would say Shu and Spriggan's power is at maybe 95 or 94. Yes, it's extremely close, but in my opinion, Free and Fafnir's power is just a little bit greater. So I am going to give this round or point to Free and Fafnir. Like I've said, if you agree with anything I say, please leave it in the comments, as I will read them and I would love to have a discussion. But with all of that out the way, moving on to the final round, which is special moves / techniques. Now, Free and Fafnir are the easiest to talk about in this round because they have two special moves, those being Drain Spin and Nothing Break. I'm not going to waste my time explaining Drain Spin because everyone knows what it is and it's kind of obvious in the name. Nothing Break, however, is the move where the spring in the Nothing Driver compresses and Free is launched around the stadium in lightning speeds and then crashes into the opposing bay, which normally results in a burst. Now, combining the Nothing Break ability with Free and Fafnir's power, it's not surprising that not many bladers can actually stand up against this move. Moving on to his opponent, Shu, he has 3 special moves. One of those being Requiem Spin, which just is exactly the same as Drain Spin. I'm not going to talk about that. Counter Break, which of course is his returning move from Storm Spriggan. This is where he sort of, in my opinion, he sort of dances, you know, like he moves in like a half circle direction and then attacks the bay from a different direction. This was his most powerful move in Season 1, and in Season 2, it is a very powerful move. Obviously, it cracked and destroyed to a Nemesis. I know the Japanese or the proper name is something else, but I don't know it. I only know Twin Nemesis, so that's what I'm going to call it. But that move is still not his strongest. Shu's strongest move is Requiem Whip, where he focuses all of Spriggan's power onto one side and then whips the opposing bay with it. Obviously, hence the name. Obviously, Shu and Spriggan have 3 special moves, while Free and Fafnir only have 2. You could say that Shu and Spriggan take this round easily because they have more moves, but I don't think it's that simple. If you look more in depth, they both have identical moves, those being Requiem and Drain Spin. However, Spriggan has a dual spin ability, meaning he can spin steal from left and right opposing bays. Fafnir, however, can't do that. He can only spin steal from right spinning opponents. Now, this instantly takes away one of his special abilities, because if Shu just puts Spriggan in left spinning rotation, that just means Free can't use one of his special moves. So that leaves Free with 1 ability and Spriggan with 3 abilities, because he could spin steal from Fafnir. Now, although this didn't happen in the anime because they never went up against each other, at least not Requiem didn't go up against Fafnir. He may not be able to spin steal from Fafnir, as, you know, the rubber might counter it. I'm just going to go ahead and say he could spin steal from Fafnir. And that just leaves, like I've said, that leaves Fafnir with 1 ability and Shu with 3. However, Nothing Break is an extremely powerful move. Not even Louis and Luminor stood up against this move. They were easily smacked away by this move. And if they used this move against Shu would easily burst from it. So even though Shu and Spriggan's Requiem Whip is insanely powerful, I personally don't believe if those 2 moves clashed, so if Free and Fafnir used Nothing Break and Shu and Spriggan used Requiem Whip and the both bays clashed together, I personally think Fafnir would win that clash, as I believe Nothing Break combined with Free's initial power is just an overwhelming combo against Spriggan. However, I have to give the round to Shu and Spriggan. Although I do believe Nothing Break is more powerful than any of Shu's moves, just the variety of his moves gives him this round. So at the end of those 3 rounds, or the breakdown, Shu and Spriggan are leading by 2 points, and Fafnir and Free have 1 point. So now, I guess, moving on, I have to talk about the verdict. And just because Shu and Spriggan have 2 points, doesn't necessarily mean they get the win. This battle would bring out everything both bladers have. Well, I'm not going to break down how I think each round will go, though if you guys are interested, I might do this in a separate video. where I'll break down each battle and talk about how they would analyze each other. I'm not going to talk about this in this video. Working out the winner you'd also have to talk about what the battle rules would be. And the rules of the battle that I'm going to put in place are the championship tournament rules, with a twist, however. So I'm not in this hypothetical anime style battle that I am putting these bladers through. There is going to be no outside interferences. So there's going to be no one cheering for Shu or Free, and there's going to be no Chris to stop Free from battling. So this is no outside interference. And it will go up to 3 points. So who do I think would win? Well, in all honesty, I think the winner would be Shu and Spriggan Requiem. And I think that they would win 6.5 times out of 10. Now, I've come to this conclusion purely based on Free's biggest weakness as a blader himself, which is his stamina issue. In the anime, against his battle with Volt, the only reason why he lost is because his body was giving up on Free, and Chris stopped him from battling. Now, of course, Chris wouldn't be here to stop him from battling. However, I still think the stamina issue would come into effect in this battle, and I do think, because of that, Free would start to not fail his launches, but launch less powerful in his battle. So the way I see it going is, if the battle rules were up to 2 points, I think Free takes it. I think Free wins probably 8 times out of 10. He's more powerful, and I just think he would take that initial power and just burst Free and Shu straight away, taking the win. 3 points, however, I still think round 1 or 2, Free gets a burst and the score is 2-1 or 2-0. I think he takes the initial burst straight away. The longer the battles go on and the longer the battles are, I think Shu and Spriggan keep getting the edge. Basically, what I'm saying is the longer the battles go on for, the more chance that Shu has of winning due to Free's stamina. Now, if you say that eventually, if Free did, okay, talking about the anime now, hypothetically, if Free did launch and Chris didn't stop him, and you want to say that he, gets more powerful and he, gets all dark and whatever, and just destroys Valkyrie, whatever, then yeah, fine, he would win this match. But that's not what happened in the anime. In the anime, he was stopped from battling. And in my hypothetical, that wouldn't happen. He would just start to break down. His body would just break down because of the amount of power exiting his body, and he wouldn't be able to continue battling. Or he would continue battling at a lower percentage of his power, meaning Shu would just have an easier time with knocking him out of the stadium or potentially bursting him. So like I've said before, the longer the battle goes on, the more likely it is that Shu and Spriggan takes the win. But of course, remember, everything I said is all my opinion and my interpretation of these two bladers. If you disagree with me or agree with me, tell me in the comments. I will reply. I'd love to talk and discuss, but this is the end of my video, and this is how or who I thought would win. If you guys are interested in seeing a breakdown of each round, where I talk about how each round would play out and who would get what point, I would love to do that video. Otherwise, maybe a part 2 for this video would be in the near future. Who knows? Either way, if you guys did like this video, maybe subscribe. I would love that, and leave a like. And yeah, that's the end of this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.